from Pearls of the Hearth, and today I wanted to talk about the value of uncertainty. Many years ago, we went through a global pandemic. Most everyone seemed to have a strong opinion on what we were facing as a collective. People seemed quite convinced of their opinions and of their rightness, and would condemn others who thought differently than themselves. At the time, I felt I was on very shaky ground because I did not have a strong opinion. I had a fair sense of what was the right decision for myself based on the evidence that I saw and was given. But I had a certain humility that I could be wrong. If someone wanted to hear why I came to the conclusions that I did, I'd be willing to share it with them. But most people are not interested in having a conversation to lead to truth, but only to debate their rightness and prove your own wrongness. And I remember feeling so weak and so embarrassed that I couldn't take a firm stand and feel as right as many of my friends did. I didn't feel self-assured. I was embarrassed by this. I felt I was weak. A few years later, some wisdom earned, I extend through time some grace to thy former self, as I see the value in her uncertainty, in her lack of self-assuredness. The older I get, the more I recognize how much I don't know, how much there is to learn, how much my opinion can be changed by new perspectives and new information. I see the value in putting together the pieces for myself, but keeping an open mind that I could be wrong. And staying humble, staying curious. I think to myself of a little ant living in an anthill who can't know even the layout of the house, the bigger house surrounding him. He could only understand things from his own ant perspective. And we would look down at the ant and think, poor dear, what does he know from his limited perspective? And for humans, no matter how smart we think we are, how logical, we're a tiny, tiny fragment of the whole, tiny fragment of the infinite. We are a finite creature living in an infinite reality. And there's limits to what is knowable in every situation. We can try to see things from all sides, but we won't have the mind of the infinite. We can come to conclusions, but we can't come to certainty. once met an atheist who was so convinced of his atheism as being right. But it seemed to me arrogant. That if we were going to base things on our material reality, we would at least know that our brain matter was so limited. And science acknowledges even the infinite nature of the universe. So how could such limited matter pretend to know the true nature of reality? And the only fair position to me, or reasonable one, was at least a level of agnosticism. To say there was no God for sure just expose a level of confidence that revealed the smallness of a person's mind. We can aspire towards truth, aspire to better understanding, aspire to seeing the wholeness of something. But as individuals, it's fairly impossible. Through discourse, we get closer. Through collaboration, we can see things that we can't see on our own. To grow intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, is to challenge what we know, to challenge what we're sure of, to break down walls of certainty so that we can expand our base of knowledge, to expand what we know to be true, to create more space for uncertainty, to create more space for humility, to create more space for the unknown. To me, it seems the benefit of relationship is to break free of the confines of our separate minds, so we could see the world through another lens, that other fractal of the divine, to get closer and closer to wholeness. Thank you for listening. I hope that if you feel uncertain, unsure, you'll extend yourself grace and understand. Sometimes knowing something for certain is the strongest clue that you're likely wrong. Thank you for listening.